up, everybody? It's Joe Puma. You were watching the Complex Sneakers podcast. Once again, as always, I'm joined by my two friends. First off, to my right, Mr. Matt Welty.
Two?
That's why I said once again. Real fans know I threw in the once again because we did a back-to-back. To my left, it's like 75 degrees in New York. He got the pastels out. Mr. Brendan Dunn.
Hello.
Yeah, well, look at the socks. We'll get to. Listen. We're not going to spoil what's on feet, but he got them.
Do you remember that early viral sneaker clip where Carlos, owner of Soulfly, he was golfing with Michael Jordan, and he didn't Photoshop, but he put the music bed on the background of Michael Jordan dancing to back.
Oh,
no, I don't remember that.
Wow.
He's back to back, like I'm Jordan 96, 97.
Wow,
and Jordan was dancing on the golf course, but he made it seem like Jordan was actually dancing
I didn't know that. No, I didn't know that. I'm sure that went crazy.
I deleted that one out of my brain.
Wow.
That was one of those early chart beat. Was like 1,000 people on the story.
Back to back's a fire.
The hard hitting news.
Back to back.
Watch Michael Jordan dance to back.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
20,000 clicks easy.
Easy. Chart beat shot up.
Sheesh.
I used to love back to back. They would play it in Giant Stadium when Odell would do something good, and they would just play. Oh man, just like that. Odell. We may have to make a trip to Baltimore, and you know who we'd stop by to see if we went to go see Odell play
Abdul,
on the Ravens.
Our friend.
You got to check in.
Say it?
Our friend
Did
Abdul.
I have to say it? Maybe we go to
Mr.
Abdul. What? You gonna,
Jumbo slice time?
Yeah, you gonna fact check me? Abdul.
Spiking the lens right now?
What did he?
Yeah.
He's spiking the
Okay.
lens,
What did he fact check you on most recently?
He said something acting like he knows, and don't
About
worry
the jumbo
what I know.
slice, yeah.
What I do know is
Joe knows.
What I do know, I still don't have the list.
Oh.
The list is out.
The most important,
Abdul, going right
thing to
there,
address.
spiking the lens right to
make
your
the list?
camera, Abdul. What is it? 6:30. You're at the monument running some laps.
Yeah.
Put it in
8.01 miles.
Yeah, put it in the earphones and put it on YouTube, Abdul.
Did you feel like back in the day you go to Gold Bar and you're trying to get it through the door and your name's not on the list?
No, I went with RF. We went right through. I don't want to drop names. Go with
Never
RF.
ever experienced that. Hey, can I drop a name
Shouts
real
to
quick?
Johnny Lennon. Shouts to Johnny Lennon.
You said
Gold
I don't
Bar.
want to drop names, and you went straight to John Lennon,
No,
the Beatle, who I
no,
disrespected on this
not
podcast
the Beatle.
3 weeks
Johnny
ago.
Johnny Lennon from Gold Bar, who is in the latest ALD photo shoot.
I am so glad you took it there.
When are we going to get into ALD
Not happening.
photo?
But
Well,
Wait,
here's
have
the
you
thing.
asked?
no.
Here's the
we're
thing.
not.
I blew it. You remember how just yesterday when we recorded the last episode
Last
of this
week,
podcast,
yeah.
you said, "Are you getting ready for Mulberry Street?" I said, "Oh, I got to go by and see Teddy."
For a suit.
I was on Mulberry Street last night.
You went to the old locale, not the new one? Okay.
And there was Teddy out front, and he said, "You want to come in and check out the shop?" And I
Don't
said
tell me
no?
you said no.
I-
What's wrong with you?
You're like, hey,
What's
I got.
wrong with you?
You're like, this news just broke on Pacer. I got to be
Wait,
home
did you
real
pick
quick.
up a suit?
no, I was like, "I appreciate it, man. I got to run."
That's a fail. I would never invite you back. Don't
I
even
blew
take
it.
a Fredo espresso.
I
Don't
blew it,
even
right?
look at it. Yes, you did. You blew it.
You're like, hey, I heard that Nike's suing this sneaker customizer, man. Like,
I'm really busy right now.
Pick up the pace to go to Pacer.
Hey, whoa! Yeah,
wait, you literally just got like, that was like the
Yeah, that's-
most like
damn.
mob-esque like informal, formal.
Just
being
him,
like,
him and Nunez after listening what this guy did to me.
This is like
Him and Nunez and
No,
seen it in a
no
movie.
way.
Him
No way.
Nunez
Me and
Bam
Danny
Bam in
Nunez
front.
are on the same team.
This guy had the nerve. On my
realize-
block.
And Joe
It's like-
Grondin was outside too.
Okay.
how many people like we've had like on our like programs that have been part of, you know, the ALD photo shoots, and you were just one step closer to throwing your name in with, you know.
Such illustrious company.
You could have
Got
been
the
next to
teeth for it.
Big Body Bass.
I noticed that.
Action
We
Bronson.
can cut this.
Alchemist.
We can cut this.
Cheeto Vera.
We could cut this, but I noticed it. Those are, bro.
Thank you, Joe.
For real.
Thank
I
you.
noticed it yesterday. Damn.
What?
If you're a real friend, you know this.
The veneers?
Not veneers. He doesn't have
Absolutely do
veneers.
not have veneers.
His
Although you
shit-
did think that.
I
at one
did.
I
point.
did. That's how good they look.
He thought
Invisalign.
I really
I knew they
just
weren't
like
veneers,
blew a
but
bag.
man,
on some
man.
brand new
You
teeth.
must have got that good dental insurance.
Hey man, BuzzFeed Inc. Baby, they take
Look
care
great.
of us.
I noticed that yesterday. I meant to tell you, but
Thank
I
you,
figured
Joe.
I'd tell you
Real
to
friends.
the audience.
Real friends. In front of the audience of hundreds of thousands.
And the millions worldwide.
Speaking of real friends, how about this DJ Khaled, J Balvin back and forth for the rollout of his shoe.
Listen, the algorithm, serve it up to me, baby. Just give me, that's JOP's algorithm right there.
Yeah, turn the faucet on.
Yes.
You want to be right underneath
Khaled, multiple times in the past week, has begged for a second pair of shoes. Not just once, 2 times he's begged for a second pair of shoes. He's begging J Balvin just for the second pair.
Yeah, he wants the J Balvin Air Jordan 3. He's commenting on the photos saying, I need
Playing
them.
golf, Balvin pulled up right off his feet. And
This
the
was
best
funny.
part
This
is,
video was funny, but this is one of the most cringe-worthy sneaker rollout moments.
Yeah.
It was like soap opera level acting, and I like both those guys.
He's on my side now.
It was
Not
very
me.
long. It was like a 3-minute video of DJ
was it
Khaled.
scripted?
I watched every single part of it. The best part is
Scripted
Khaled's
showdown.
guy, Mike, who he has now created him as his rival. This guy, Mike, who I don't know, but they play golf together. I think Mike maybe like belongs.
Jordan?
No. Has like a Boston
Back to back.
accent, and then Khaled was playing with Steve Stout, and they were like filming them going back and forth. But Mike now, who Khaled plays with, is this guy, this kind of like older gentleman who Khaled's playing with, and leading up to before the Balvin thing, it was him going back like Mike. He calls him Mr. Soft or whatever, and then Mike will just hit a drive if it like goes shanks it. He'll just be like. Stuff that like normal golfers you don't usually see.
Right.
The funniest part of the Balvin thing, Balvin's pulling up. They're having a whole conversation. I just look in the back and it's just the guy Mike just standing there, and I'm just thinking to myself, what did Mike get roped into here? But
My G.
yeah,
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
And then also Khaled also begging again for a second pair of the Tiana Taylor
she sent him.
Air Jordan 1s.
She sent him.
So
Listen, to be fair, Khaled sent Balvin all the friends and family. So
another one.
You're keeping score?
That was literally
Bro,
another one. Give me another
Mean
one.
Speedy just send the Khaled memes back.
We were me and Brendan had we probably should have looked this up. We forgot. So on the closets
I pretty much
episode the other
know
day
every
when he
single-
said that there was a street investigation
Yes.
going down. What shoe was that over?
He didn't name it. He said, but they were like 5 bangers. That's what he said. He didn't name. He wasn't like undefeated 4. He was like the shoe like 5, and he paused and he said, bangers.
Oh, those got stolen. Sorry, maybe I was mixing the story up. Didn't Fat Joe told us that he had the sneakers stolen at the airport? Or maybe I'm totally throwing this off. I thought he maybe had like Eminem or Undefeated 4 or something stolen by the TSA.
You would remember better than I would.
Either way,
Someone in the comments.
You mixing
will
up
straighten this
TS with TSA, maybe?
the TS, yeah.
I like that.
Okay. You
I
put
like
in the
that.
A in TS. A.
Joe, you excited about this 50 Cent tour?
Okay, so someone asked me about that.
50 Cent going on tour to celebrate, what is it, 20 years of Get Rich or Die
Someone
Trying?
asked me
I
about
can't
that
believe
last
that.
night. Last night,
Mm-hmm.
and he's playing at the Barclays.
Come on.
What is the optimal hang though for a 50 Cent 20-year Get Rich or Die Trying concert?
What do you mean hang?
Do you like
What are we
go with
doing
your
beforehand?
boys?
Oh, it's not a date night?
It's not a date night,
feel-
right? Okay, so this is what I was saying. So the person
You were
asked,
thinking about it as a date
no,
night?
no. The person was asking me. My girlfriend was asking me.
He puts it out there for the.
So listen. So I was like, she was like, "Are you gonna go?" And I was like, "I don't know." And I was like, "But
She
I
said,
don't-
are you, not we?
I was like, "I don't know if that's the vibe. I don't know if that's the vibe." I agree. It's not date night.
Yeah.
Pretty serious though. If Joe LaPuma puts it out to the world that his girlfriend, big sip of water.
I got nothing to hide.
I could picture you being like, since you're such a big 50 fan,
Yeah.
that like you're in your zone and you want to go
Joe,
there.
right? Not
Yeah,
us.
Joe.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yes.
Joe. And you want to rap all the lyrics
That's-
to all the
that's
songs.
kinda
so
why.
So you almost want to go solo dolo, like you're going with the AirPods, like getting hyped up, like
Hoodie
A
on
little
tight.
little pregame, you know.
Yeah.
The drawstrings tight.
That's why I was like, listen, I'm not trying to,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to like, what is it? Not offend. I'm not trying to like say no, we're not going, but
Yeah.
we're not going.
like
But yeah, I'm the Barclays. I
You'll
think
be
it's
there.
in August.
You'll be there.
Me and my friends had a big argument like 2 years ago. 50 Cent performed, or last year, I think, or year ago, 2 years ago. 50 Cent performed in Armenia, and he did a show in Yerevan, and some of our friends were like, this is one of the biggest moments for our country. 50 Cent came to Armenia. He's going to spread Armenian culture all throughout the world. And I'm like, dude, I was like,
I'm not going to say, I don't want to offend anybody.
Was Tony Yayo with him?
No.
I'm not going to say
I think
right
Tony
now.
Yayo went. But the thing is, I'm like, dude.
Our friend Tony Yayo.
Do you think 50 Cent like really gives a F about performing there other than a check, with all due respect? No.
Okay, I'm not playing devil's advocate at all. The one thing I would always say in Yayo's interviews and 50 Cent, they always bring up going to other countries and being some
Passport
of like
gang.
Yeah, exactly. He has the chain. Yeah. But like all kidding aside, like they're always like, we go to these other countries and they know 50's catalog. I can't speak to your friend's conversation, but
did you even reach out to the Armenian tourism board or anything to see whether or not that concert spiked sales of hotels and airline tickets to Armenia?
Yeah. I think the fact that the 50 Cent concert got brought up to me 2 times in the last 12 hours, you know what that means?
Kismet.
I got to pull up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got to pull up.
Should we talk about some actual sneaker stuff for a little bit?
Sure.
Yeah.
Forgot that.
Wait, Sneakers Podcast?
Sneakers Podcast. I forgot.
At Adidas annual shareholder meeting in Germany, Adidas CEO Bjorn Gulden said that, quote, what we are trying to do now over time is to sell some of this merchandise. It sounds like they're actually going to be selling Yeezys again.
Donating the money to charity, right?
Yes. And I think this is the right thing to do.
Okay.
We've spoken about this
caveat, 15% of the proceeds go to Kanye West.
I don't think that's 100% confirmed. Some people have put that out there. That's not what the CEO said in any official capacity, but I could see that being a thing.
A legality of the...
Yeah, in terms of the contract. I still think this is the right thing to do. You know, he said burning the goods would not be a solution. I totally agree. I feel like, you know, we want to address these things when they come up, even though maybe I can speak for all of us when I say that I'm sick of talking about Yeezys. And I hope that this will maybe be a final chapter or some finality to this thing, especially. And it's nice that we get the word directly from the CEO of Adidas instead of all these little leaks and, you know, news reports floating around. You don't know what you could trust. We didn't have a lot of good info on it. And here's the CEO saying, we're going to sell these things. We're going to donate some of the money to charity. That's the plan.
I mean, I said it the other week where I'm like, it hit me all of a sudden where I'm like, do you realize how refreshing it's been over the past year or whatever, where it hasn't been a different, like, slight shade of 350s every single week, where it's like you don't, all those shoes, and I know they were popular and I know people love them, but it's just it was just a saturation point where it just got so monotonously boring at the time, especially where all the other shoes were just Dunks and Jordan 1s and Yeezy 350s, where you're like, okay, things are more exciting now because it's not just the same 3 shoes in 100 different shades of the rainbow. But
I do wonder whether or not they will let retailers have them or whether they're just going to do it DTC. I know there's still a lot of small sneaker boutiques who really want this business back and really want to be able to sell Yeezys again.
And now I feel like because it's going to charity, they would be cool selling them again.
Yeah. I don't think that people are going to be too upset over it, given that it's for a good cause in a way that the sneakers probably weren't before. You know, they never donated the money to charity before, so I feel like you can't. Or I'm not mad at this. I think
is it 100% of the or not? Well, if the money's part of the money's going to Kanye, hypothetically, right? But beyond that, the other portion of it, is it like all of that profit?
They haven't shared. They haven't shared whether or not all profits are going to charity. I'd be a little bit surprised, but that's as much as they've said about it.
We do think Kanye's going to get a cut of it, though? What do you guys...
I would think so.
I just don't know. And it's like, obviously, we don't know the legalities of it, but if it's like, if the contract was somewhat voided or canceled at some extent, I could imagine... I'm not saying you shouldn't give him money, but I don't know if it's a legality where it's like the contract is no longer in play, so...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Elsewhere, Fear of God Athletics rolling out some more looks at their Adidas apparel and footwear. We saw that one sneaker. Remember before the Fear of God Hollywood Bowl show, there was the shoe that popped up, and Welty got the comment from Jerry Lorenzo on it. Yeah, where that's not the final version of the shoe. That shoe's not coming out, but now we've seen what looks to be that same shoe in its like final iteration. Yeah, it looks good.
Which is fair to say.
It does look good.
Because people were like, oh, this shoe's still going to release, and it's like, I get where Jerry was coming from, where he's like, this shoe is not...
This exact shoe that we saw months ago.
Yeah, and it's like, maybe there's similarities between the two, but they're really not the same sneaker.
Yeah. More than anything, I'm happy to just see more of this stuff. I had heard that maybe some of the Adidas-centric looks from the show were cut at the last minute. So to actually get a good look at what this stuff looks like and what we can anticipate from Fear of God Athletics, Jerry Lorenzo's Adidas collaboration, I'm excited. The styling looks beautiful, as always.
Yep.
I think one of the nicer pieces is there's an Adidas duffel bag.
Oh,
You like that?
But just like a
You can see him coming in with a duffel bag,
yeah,
right?
Also-
but
but
also
also-
bag boy.
a reference point. I want to say that it's actually based off of vintage Adidas bags that were sold at the time. I know that there was one released through the Spezial collection that was an all brown leather bag that had like the small writing on it that was really similar to the one that Fear of God's putting out. So it's nice. I know that Jerry's had like little nods or homages to Adidas's. I know he'd been in the archives, but to Adidas's history, like the first hoodie he had put out, the tan one with the blue lettering. He had told me that
Like
he's like
yellowish almost too, right?
a cream. It was like a cream, but he had said that the blue,
Barely Volt, a la the
Yeah, it was
Spirit on
the-
2 Cage.
The Erling Haaland.
but the blue was meant to be the exact shade of the original Adidas blue boxes.
Got it.
So he's
Got it.
like kind of
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I like the jacket with the you know.
Yeah. The stripes
three-
around the shoulders. Yeah. And then one more thing. This happened right after we recorded last week, but Tom Sachs' apology tour commences. He posted this note on his Instagram, kind of first substantial way he's addressed the allegations that came from him, mostly from a Curb report in March. Didn't really talk about the Nike relationship at all, but kind of said,
no surprise, really.
yeah, quote, I have never harassed anyone or tried to make anyone feel uncomfortable. He also said, my art and personal growth is my main focus.
I think, to me, the crux of what he said was that he kind of mentioned that he's been doing this for so many years, and he's like, the world has changed so much. These aren't exact words, but he's like, the world has changed so much around him, and he realized that maybe his business practices didn't update with the times.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. I hope he figures all that out, and I hope the people who work for him can feel like they're in a safer environment and not have to be subject to some of those things that were in that report. But if there are no more Tom Sachs Nikes ever again, I'm totally fine with that. They had a good run. Maybe he's not an appropriate partner going forward. We spoke about this last week as to whether or not they're waiting it out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised either way, but like I said, I don't think we need to mourn this if it's totally done.
You're not like we had Camelot at one time.
Oh, no, me personally, I don't feel that strongly about it.
Yeah. I said it last week. I can't see it coming back anytime soon. We'll see, though, that Nike partnership.
Yeah, not making any bold predictions.
No.
Nope.
Not setting
I
anything in stone.
Even if I'm not saying it's gonna come back, but like, say maybe in like 3 years, if they're like, hey, we want to do this, it's like, does anyone care at that point?
I think, I just said I don't want to make any bold predictions. That I almost made a prediction. But I feel like if it came back, it'd be sooner than that. But let's see.
Yeah.
Okay. We crossed some things off our list. Like I said, we're recording this early. So
Literally
maybe
the list.
Yeah, there we go.
Like
The list.
like how Joe got crossed off the list.
Oh, no.
Maybe some things happened between us recording this and us putting this out that we didn't get to
I'll
address.
wear 'em here.
Yeah, we'll address them in the next episode.
Yes.
Anyways, we have a special guest this week.
Yes, we do.
Let's bring on our guest.
Let's do it. Our guest on today's podcast is a design veteran who's driven innovation in footwear for almost 30 years. Whether it was crafting signature footwear in the mid-90s for tennis legend Boris Becker or shaping Nike's football boots for key players like Ronaldo, Zlatan, and Neymar, he was at the forefront of athletic footwear. His resume includes design positions at Lotto, Fila, Nike, and Adidas, and yes, even a footwear brand with his friend Michael Jackson. A lot of his history is captured in his new 750-page book, Hungry for More. Here to talk about his storied career, please welcome to the podcast, Denis Dekovic. Denis, welcome. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, how's it been? Where are you traveling from?
I live in Milan, so I
Okay.
came in from Milan.
Okay.
You came in just for this?
No.
You couldn't lie to the people out there just to say this is such an important thing.
But I've been waiting for this for a long time.
All right,
Oh,
we'll take
beautiful.
it. We'll take it.
There was the big Milan derby.
Oh, yesterday, yes.
Yesterday.
We won.
Yeah, Inter.
It's good.
What was that? I missed that.
AC Milan and Inter.
Do you
Inter 2-0.
Do you have Inter as your team?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you there?
No, I was here.
I thought maybe you came straight from there to here.
No,
'cause
no,
it
no,
was
no, no.
So important. Dennis, we're so happy to have you here.
Yeah, this is big.
There's a lot of things we want to talk about, though, but we want to talk about your footwear first and all of our shoes. What do you have on feet here? Because I actually have no idea what you're wearing.
Me
but this is
either.
Very cool.
Oh, I wanted to surprise you with something special.
Yes.
You certainly did.
It's a concept I worked on with Pharrell.
Okay.
We called it origami. The idea was to create a fashion statement. So we made 60 pairs, and then COVID hit. So most of the pairs are still in the storage. But I just wanted to show you something.
Wow.
Very cool.
So you have a pair. There's 60 pairs. How many pairs does Pharrell have of those?
I guess one.
Okay.
That's like your own independent brand? Or is
No,
that
no, no.
Adidas?
This
That's
no, no.
Adidas?
This was part of Adidas. This is back when I was still with Adi, and we just created concepts here. I was here in Brooklyn Farm,
Yep.
right?
Very cool.
So we were creating concepts, and when we saw the material, I'm like, oh, we need to do something with this.
What's the material?
It's a knitted upper
Yeah.
with an inner booty to just keep your foot in place, but
Yeah.
it's a knitted upper, and it's knitted in a way to create this three-dimensional texture.
Wow.
Do you think they'll ever come out?
Well, the idea was always to keep it at 60 pairs. So
Okay.
just see it with fashion editors, and that's it.
Hey, we're fashion editors, right?
Kind of, yeah. Yeah. You know, you could squeeze it. Yeah, you can finesse it a little bit.
You could put on that list?
I don't know about that.
I'm also doing Adidas today. I'll probably say it wrong, but this is the Hochelaga Special.
I believe so.
How did I do on that?
I think it's
Wealthy?
Hushalaga.
Hochelaga?
I have no idea.
It's I believe it's
You
the-
definitely know more about it than I do.
it's the original name for Montreal,
Oh,
which the shoe's based off the Adidas Montreal, but that's like the original
yeah.
Native American name for the
Yeah,
shoe.
well, like I said, you have the history on it that I don't, but
The historian.
yes,
this is
I love these. I love these. Joe, what you got on feet?
I'm doing the triple black Air Max 95 Supreme Lux.
Yep.
Yeah, came with the little Italy.
Little
he's
little
doing
big
it for
Italian
Italy as
vibes.
well.
Yeah, you know, I
Nice,
felt like it was only right. So yeah,
There you go.
doing those.
I'll do what you got on feet.
These are the Paperboy Paris New Balance 992s. Fried eggs.
Okay. You like your eggs scrambled or fried?
It depends on the.
Over easy. I could see you just
Depends.
doing some egg whites. Like
No. Pretend like I'm Rocky.
yeah,
in the
exactly.
morning.
Or not even egg whites. The like cracking. Yeah.
Did you watch Rocky as a kid, Joe, and just wanted to chug the egg whites?
Never. I was never really that into eggs, but I was into Rocky. So
Dennis, did you watch Rocky as a kid?
Yeah, of course.
Did it inspire you?
No.
It didn't move
I
you.
loved it.
Yeah.
It entertained me, but not inspired me.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, we had the intro and we talked about almost like 30 years of footwear design. Where does like it start for you in terms of getting the first position when you were in like had a major part in footwear design?
I mean, I grew up in a family of athletes, so sport is part of my life, and I adored the Japanese cartoons. So I was drawing and I was playing sports, but I never connected the two. Until I was 13 or 14, and one of my basketball teammates showed me a sketch of a shoe. And in that moment, the two worlds collided, and I said, okay, I want to be a footwear designer.
Do you remember what the sketch was or what shoe
What
it
it
was?
looked like?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a sketch of an Adidas shoe. I actually got in touch with him because I worked on my book. So I got in touch with him to tell me a story, and he said, actually, I still have a sketch. So
Wow.
he sent it to me.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was the spark. From that point on, just sketching like crazy day and night, and sending portfolios around. And another teammate of mine, who had a license for Lotto for Croatia back then, knew the owner of Lotto. You know Lotto, the
Yes,
Italian brand,
yes,
yeah?
of course.
And the owner came in. He saw my sketches. He came into Croatia and basically said, "I want you to come work for me." So my last 2 years of high school were the best because I had no worries about the future.
Wow.
Were you working for Lotto
Yes.
already while you were in high school?
No. He said the condition was I need to finish the high school and then I get the job.
Yeah.
So that was my first job. That's how I started, and so I skipped all the design education.
Yeah.
But I learned from the best footwear guys in the world in Italy.
Yeah. Did you ever try and catch up on that formal design education, or you feel like you got enough of it just being in the field?
No, I was ahead.
Yeah.
I was ahead. I would go to like art center of Pasadena to select students to come to intern for companies, and I was younger than them. So for me, it never crossed my mind that maybe I should go there.
Yeah,
Why
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
already like ahead.
Yeah. What type of stuff were you doing at Lotto? Was it just footwear designer one? What was your job title?
Yeah. Basic, start from the ground up. Lots of tennis, lots of football back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Designing football like boots, essentially. How big of a difference is it from designing sneakers? Is it like basically a lot of the same steps, or it's totally different?
So I'm all focused about innovation, right?
Okay.
So whatever I design, it has to be innovative. So that's the similarity between football or other sports or other kinds of footwear.
Mm-hmm.
But football, it's completely different because as a sport, you use your feet to touch the ball, to control the ball. You run on hard surfaces, muddy, soft surfaces. You have contacts, cleats getting to your foot. So there's a lot to consider. It's very, very intense, and it takes a long time to
Like
get to
wear
something
test.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has there ever been like because you said like, it's like the technology actually has to work. Not that it doesn't work on casual shoes, but I feel like sometimes people sketch something and then if you try it on, it feels okay, it's okay. But with a football boot, if it doesn't work, then you're totally out of luck. Was there anything that you had like designed back then that you thought this was really going to be a good idea and then it didn't work?
I don't remember, but I'm sure there were a lot of ideas that didn't work. But the process allows you to test and correct. So even if you have an idea that doesn't work in the beginning, if the idea is born from the right insights, then it's a good idea. You just need to figure out how to make it work.
How many years were you at Lotto for?
4 years.
And then what was the path after
Fila.
that? Fila.
Yeah.
How did you make that transition?
I don't remember exactly what happened, but the head of design wanted to meet with me. And so we had a chat, and at the end of the chat, he said, I would like you to come work here with us. And I said, I can't, I was
Why?
because I was so connected to the owner of Lotto who, picked me up and gave me the opportunity that he was like a father figure almost to me. So I said, no, I can't. And the guy said, okay, takes a Post-it, writes something on the Post-it, puts it in front of me. I'm like, okay,
This is the salary number?
Let me talk to him on Monday. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
What footwear were you doing there at Fila?
Fila, I was doing a little basketball.
So was that like Grand Hill era?
No, it was post all the cool stuff.
Okay.
I came when Fila was already
What year?
over its peak. I think end of 98, 99.
Okay, so Grand Hill is like 95, I think. Maybe.
Yeah, I worked with him, but it wasn't cool anymore.
Okay.
Not him, the product.
Yeah. Didn't you do the Fila Schumacher racing boot?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you work with Michael Schumacher?
Yes,
on that?
of course.
I need to hear about that.
I mean, he's the first person that challenged me from a functional point of view. When you work with basketball players, that they often talk about aesthetic and stories, but he was all about performance, like what he needed on his feet during the race. So among many things, of course, the weight was important. So I remember one meeting where we came in and he said, what's the weight of the shoe? I don't remember the number, but let's say 114 grams. He's like, cool. Weight machine, shoe on the weight, and it's like 116. He's like, you said it's 114. Like,
wow.
Come on. It's probably a piece of paper inside of the shoe. Like, that's the difference.
Was he an intimidating guy to work with?
No, I love it.
Yeah.
Like I love him. Like he was very professional when he needed to be, and very funny.
Yeah.
So that's what you like, ups and downs.
Yeah.
He lived up to his last name, being Shoemaker, basically.
Yeah. See?
No, he obsessed everything.
Wow.
Everything. He had almost like a producer in a music studio. Had control of the whole room, the mechanics, the us, everyone. He controlled everything in the room. It was amazing to see. And I was very young. This is my 5th or 6th year into the industry. So
Still in
I
your
learned
mid-20s.
Yeah, like I don't remember how old, but I learned so much from that experience.
Were you like starstruck at all being around a celebrity, like athlete like that, or was it?
No,
like,
you never.
intimidating?
I never experienced being starstruck. You can be starstruck about someone that it's further away from you. But once you get face to face, it's human to human, that disappears.
Was the shoe a big deal? Was it a successful shoe, the Fila Schumacher racing boot?
I mean, it was a technical, it was a tool, right?
Yeah.
So it's not about big numbers, but not because I worked on it. I still think it's the best racing shoe ever. You know? It was so pure that, so light, so pure, so technical. All the solutions were so innovative that I don't think there's a shoe today that can perform better.
Yeah. Did you get to go to any Grand Prix? Sorry, I'm going to ask
Yeah,
a million
keep going.
F1
Keep
questions.
going.
You're a fan of Formula One or Schumacher?
I am a fan of Formula One in the way that many Americans are of, like, in the past 2 years became obsessed with it. So for that reason.
Netflix fan.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, of course I went to Grand Prix, but it's not as much fun as on TV because it's so fast. You don't see what's going on.
Yeah. I've been to one, just the one, but
Which one?
Austin this past
And
year.
was it better for you on TV or?
It was really special being there in person and kind of seeing the drivers from a distance and things like that. I quite enjoyed it.
So then after Fila, you worked at other companies, and then I feel like then was it Nike that you got to?
Yeah, after Fila, I freelanced for a few years, and then just decided to go back into the corporate world because I wasn't learning as a freelancer, being on the outside world. So I wanted to get back in, and Nike was the next one.
And was that more of kind of like the design you were doing back at like Lotto, the football boots, or it was a totally different experience?
Oh, it was totally different.
Even when you first got there?
It was the level of design culture at Nike was huge, like incredible. Even today, I never seen a company that has a design culture that high.
And is it resources? Is it what is it like exactly? Like, you say design culture, but like what exactly were you like, wow, this is different than anything I've experienced?
Well, they value design. So they put a lot of thought into it. What is the DNA? What's the expression of the brand? The standards, the expectations are high and everyone needs to live up to them. At Nike, I always say, the job is to innovate. If you don't innovate, you get in trouble. In some other brands, if you innovate, you get in trouble because they want to keep it safe. So it was very, very different. And it's a much bigger platform. Like athletes were bigger, the market was bigger. Like
Yeah.
I feel like there has to be like more pressure too, working at like Nike, just like being the big corporate company, and then like a smaller Italian brand where like maybe like the deadlines aren't as like firm or stiff on designing the shoes, or no?
I don't I don't feel the pressure, but not because it's like I really don't feel. I love my job. I know that if we work together, we're gonna figure it out. And what can happen if we miss something? Like, we'll get it done at the end. It's a big company; it will survive.
What was like some of the early projects at Nike that you were really excited about?
At Nike, I was the first 5 years I work on women's products.
Okay.
And we built an incredible design team. I think we had the one of the best design teams at whole Nike.
Is there competition within the brand in terms of the different design teams?
There's always competition in design.
Yeah.
Sometimes unhealthy, often healthy. We just raise the bar for each other. So that was crazy because we were pushing product very, very innovative constructions, technologies, materials, forms. It was amazing. But
What were some of the shoes from that time?
even if I tell you, you probably wouldn't know. But Zoom Essential Trainer was a big one because we were able to take that franchise from 150,000 to over 500,000 pairs a season. So that was good. Then we did a collection which was called the Sister Series. So every shoe was a Sister 1, Sister 2, and so on. Very, very modern shoes. That was fantastic. And then started to do footwear and apparel together, work with apparel designers together all in one space. That was also a big change for me.
Yeah. How did you first land at Nike? How did you get the job?
I mean, we were always in contact. So I sent them my first portfolio in 92 or 93.
Did you get a letter back?
Yeah, I got the letter back.
Yeah.
I still have it.
Really?
Yeah, I still have it.
Nice.
Basically, it was no thank you, but
Yeah.
for me, it was like...
Encouragement.
absolutely.
Is it in the book?
Yeah.
Nice.
I took it as a win. But we always stayed in touch, and Nike had an amazing recruiter. Her name was Lisa Olivia, and she just, when the time came up for me to move on from freelancing and back into corporate, she heard about it, got in touch with me, connected me with the right opportunities at Nike, and made it happen. In 2 or 3 months, I was
What year did you start at Nike?
2005.
Yeah. Did you start at Beaverton?
No, I started in Holland
Yeah.
and stayed there for a year and a half, and then moved to Beaverton.
You talked about the scope of athletes being bigger when you got to Nike. You were working with some of the biggest soccer football players in the world. What's it like working with like correct me if I'm wrong, it was like Ronaldo, Neymar, Zlatan. What was it like? We talked about Schumacher, but what was it like working with them?
I mean, working with athletes, it's always cool because they challenge you, and those are pros. So what we are doing is designing tools for them.
Yeah.
They really need tools that can help them perform better or perform worse. So you feel a little responsibility there. But what's more significant for me, it becomes a partnership. The good collaborations with athletes are partnerships. Like you have that constant dialogue and exchange of ideas.
Yeah.
And that's what I love the most.
Who would you say you had like the closest partnership out of that football group?
I could not pick one, but
Okay.
Neymar was young.
Yeah.
So he really listened a lot. Cristiano was so focused on football, so very super professional.
Yeah.
For me personally, Zlatan was very cool.
I'm sure. Yeah.
People sometimes are intimidated by him.
Yeah.
Before I walked into a room with him, they said, just watch out, he can be a problem. But
Really?
yeah, but
Man.
Zlatan and me, I'm Croatian. Zlatan and me
Wow.
speak the same language. So I walked in, I said hi in Croatian, and
Oh,
that
that's
was
it.
it.
Yeah, legendary and amazing personality.
Yeah, I mean, personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, it feels like that time when you were at Nike, they were so dominant. Did it feel like that when you were in the moment of how on top of everything Nike was and unstoppable in a way?
In general or football specific?
I guess in general.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the difference between US brands and European brands. US brands want to dominate. They want to win.
Crush,
It's all
yeah.
about that, right? And Nike felt like that. But when I joined football in 2010, it was even more about dominating because 4 years away was the World Cup in Brazil, the home of football. So, that was the target. Like, we're going to create a revolution in that moment. So we worked for 4 years just for that.
I think you just said that you started in Holland, but how often were you going to like Portland?
I remember when I started, after a month, I went to Portland for 3 months, just to get to know everyone really well. But I don't remember.
Okay.
After that, it was a long time.
And the Magista was one of the boots
Yes.
that you did, right? And I remember that being like one of the football boots that they took over to like lifestyle as well.
On the Footscape.
Yeah.
rolling, yeah.
What was that like creating that shoe? And then was there ever the intention to make it into a sneaker?
No. We created, as I said, a performance tool. But when you create something so iconic, of course it's going to connect to culture. Like Jordan 6 was not designed to be cool on the street. It's designed to be a tool and an icon on the court. But because it was so bold and so innovative, it connected to culture. So, no, this was not a target, but no surprise, it got adopted for that as well.
How much do they stay in touch with y'all when Nike wants to turn a football boot into a streetwear shoe? Do they have an ongoing conversation with the original designers in the football category as they're transitioning it, or do they just take it and run with it?
I mean, we do not discuss like which outsole they should use.
Right. You didn't have any
No, so
input
it's
on
more
it
like
being
a
Footscape.
conversation about transitioning the knowledge about how to make those uppers.
Yeah. Is there a shoe from your time at Nike that you're most proud of? Is there one that stands out? I know a lot of these things are collaborative efforts, but do you have a baby from that period?
Yeah, probably I would say the Hypervenom, the first Hypervenom, because it set the stage for the football revolution that happened after it. So it was the first football boot made out of textile. It was a new franchise, which was no longer only about speed or control or speed or power. So yeah, that's the one that I think was a spark of a change.
And are you super invested in that? I know you talked about some models where it's not about how much they're selling, but do designers get invested in that once the shoe comes out, wanting to know what the sell-through rates are like and
Absolutely.
how many people are buying them?
Absolutely. That's my job.
Yeah.
My job is business. My job is not to create objects for museums. So that's how you measure also the consumer's interest.
Yeah.
Like we can create a shoe and all really go crazy about it and love it, but if the kids out there are not buying it, then they don't love it enough. So those numbers are important.
Yeah.
And then I think we'll get to Adidas in a little bit, but we have to talk Moonwalker. How that came about? Were you aware of it?
Well, I mean, the first time the public really became aware of this brand you were working on with Michael Jackson was during the lawsuit from Nike that happened afterward. I don't know that we're a little bit all over the place in terms of chronology, but I want to know about the Moonwalker brand with Michael Jackson and how you met him. I know he's a huge figure in your life. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean he's a hero since childhood, right?
Yeah.
Like a dream that you don't believe you're ever gonna reach, right? So I'm a dreamer and I believe I can make anything happen, but that was one of those that I accepted it's never gonna happen. But you work in the industry, you meet people, so I met a friend in common. And of course he knew I always wanted to meet Michael. And one day I was in LA and I just got a phone call and they said, can you be in Hotel Bel Air tomorrow at 9 a.m.?
Wow.
That's it. I knew what
was
happening. Yeah, of course.
Wow.
So we met.
But you had to have been nervous.
I wasn't nervous.
No?
No, it was very weird. I wasn't nervous.
Did you know what you were going to say going into the meeting? Like
No.
Okay.
I never, like even for this,
Okay.
I do not prepare. Like
Okay.
I come, what do you want to ask me? Let's talk about
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
So no, I was not prepared at all.
And this is before you started at Nike?
No, this is 3 years into.
Okay,
into it.
2008.
8.
Yeah.
And no, my fear was, what if he's the weirdo that the media has been talking about? Because I idolize this man, but when you idolize something, you have blind spots.
Sure.
It's like you don't want to meet your heroes.
Yes.
or-
You don't want to meet
Yes.
your heroes, You really don't want to meet your heroes. But in that moment, that was not the case. But that was the fear. So I wasn't nervous about meeting him, but I was concerned about having to tell my friends, yeah, you were right.
And did he want to start a footwear line, or you were like coming to him with the idea of starting a footwear line, or the timing just happened, the meeting was to discuss that?
I didn't approach him with that idea. So we just met the first time. It was just casual over breakfast. But after that meeting, I'm like, I want to do something for him.
Okay.
And this was the idea. At that time, Kanye was doing Yeezys, So I talked with a couple of people at Nike about, hey, I met him, like maybe we can pitch something. But there was not a lot of interest there. And when I talked back to him about it, he said, I don't want to work with big brands. Let's do something together.
Wow.
And this is how we started developing this brand.
How many sketches did we get to?
We got to a full deck with all products and footwear, apparel, accessories.
Can you give us a little bit of what it looked like, or is
You
it in the book at all?
No.
Okay,
No.
A little bit of just so we could.
Yeah, I mean, it was, basically we were taking iconic expressions from throughout his career. A red leather jacket with a black stripe.
Yes.
Patent leather shoes because that meant luxury even when
Yeah.
he was kid. So we would take these kind of elements and from there create products that were designed for modern dancers. Like we did not design something for him to wear. The idea is why Moonwalker and not MJ or something. Like you stay in the back seat and we use your storytelling to create new products for modern dancers, for the next generation. So
And did
that
you
was
make
the
any
idea.
samples? Did you
No.
get them produced?
No. The final review with him was April 1st or 2nd, and in June he died.
Yeah. So there was the total intention to move forward with it, but then his passing just cut short the project.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then you go to Adidas. There's the infamous 3 Amigos photo.
The photo. Sorry to interrupt.
This
The
is
photo
iconic. This is iconic.
Is etched in. I just feel like
Nick DePaula.
It's
Nick
just
DePaula
etched
shot
in
it?
everyone's.
Yeah, you should
he
put
did?
it on the wall.
Wait,
Yeah. Nick shot that photo.
Wow,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Nick
It's-
took the photo.
Yeah.
Wow, it's like etched in. You just.
You, Mark Miner,
Yeah.
Mark Dolce.
Yeah. Mark Dolce came up with an idea. We should take a photo.
Yeah.
Called Nick, and Nick took a photo.
Black
Yeah.
and white, right? Was it black and
No,
white or
it
no?
was on a teal.
Yeah, turquoise
brick
on the
wall,
background,
yeah.
right? Yeah. This is a huge moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The three of you leaving
three
Nike
Amigos.
together in 2014. How long had you planned that?
I knew the time for me was up at Nike. Like
Why?
I reached because I went beyond what I was expecting myself to do there.
In terms
So-
of what you achieved? when
Yeah,
you were
I
there?
achieved.
Yeah.
I achieved more than what I expected. So I reached the ceiling.
Yeah.
And when I reach the ceiling, like I get uncomfortable. So I force myself to take risks to find something new,
Yeah.
right? So I basically decided I'm gonna move on after the World Cup. I will probably move on at one point. And Mark they wanted to stay together, right? So we started talking about what should we do? Should we open an agency? Like what should we do? And the word got out to Adidas, to Eric Liedtke.
Yeah.
And Eric asked us for a meeting, and I walked in a meeting like, okay, let's meet. Big role in a big company.
Yeah.
Be
Walked in like
respectful, but
Zlatan, huh?
there's no way this
Yeah.
is happening. Like I spent 4 years, as I said earlier, dominating, like destroying them. So there's no way I'm gonna go. But Eric, in 2 minutes, made a pitch.
Really? So you walked in not fully expecting.
Yeah, no,
We'll
no
do this
way.
courtesy. We'll take the meeting.
Exactly.
But I've been crushing these guys. I'm not doing
interested.
Adidas.
Not interested.
And he changed your mind that quick.
Yeah.
What was
How?
the vision that he had that really sold you so quickly?
Basically, it was like, I need you. Companies don't really tell you like that. I need you. What do you want to do? Like, dream big. You cannot dream big enough.
What did you tell him?
Well, we said thanks and came up, a month later with a pitch.
Wow.
Was there any part of you that was hesitant out of brand loyalty? Because you mentioned this earlier phase of your career when you were at Lotto, and the people at Fila were courting you, and you felt like you couldn't do it because you had such an affinity for Lotto, and the man felt like your father. And I would think that in some ways, being at Nike for I think probably 8 years at that point, you had maybe been indoctrinated, living in Beaverton, living this life. Did you feel like you couldn't work for Adidas for that purpose at all?
No. First of all, I decided that it was time for me to go.
Yeah.
So I didn't decide that because Adi called.
Sure.
I decided, okay, now I need to do something else.
But even still, they're the enemy, right?
Oh, yeah, of course. But no, once Eric opened that door, it was a completely different point of view on it.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't about, now I'm going to go there and hurt Nike.
Sure.
It wasn't about that. It was like, I'm going to go there. Adidas in 2014 was not doing well.
Yeah.
So we're going to help them turn it around.
But you also said, growing up, sketching the Adi shoe, that was like kind of part of you early on. So did that influence your perception of the brand? No.
It was Eric's empowerment for what we could do. It was like, somebody valuing you so much and telling you have freedom. What do you want to do?
And you talked about innovation at Nike, getting there and it being like a whole new world. How was it when you got to Adidas compared to Nike?
It's a different league. Nike is a different league than anyone else.
Still, even though
Yes. They have things figured out from a strategy, long-term vision, big investments, big legal forces protecting everything. Yeah, it's a massive machine. Like, it's really unfair to compare them because they're not set up to compete.
We have to talk about these legal forces because there was this gigantic
No,
lawsuit,
legal
too.
forces meaning their legal department is so big that they can patent ideas.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm just saying, I just saw it as a transition of this moment too, where they sued you guys for $10 million when you made the switch to Adidas. They accused you of stealing trade secrets or breaking the non-compete. How difficult was that for this big moment in your life where you have all this freedom and you're going to this new role and you get to do everything you want, but then it's marred in the public by this giant battle that you have to fight?
Oh man, it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
Because when that started, you are thinking, I didn't sell anything to anyone, so it should be all good.
I'm above board.
Yeah, it's all good, right? Because I didn't do what they are accusing me of doing, so it's all good. But once the legal machine starts, you realize, it's out of your hands. Now it's two legal teams trying to figure, they're playing a game.
Yeah. Was it hard to be positive in that time?
No, because I'm an optimist. What was hard was so much stuff was leaking.
Yeah.
Private messages.
Yeah.
Of course, when we send messages, we talk freely, like nobody's watching us. Suddenly, everyone was seeing the way we were communicating. No, the hardest part for me was not knowing how my friends at Nike feel about me. Because, they were not allowed to communicate with me. So are they buying into the story, or knowing me, they know who I am?
Yeah. And then how much of a relief was it when it was finally over?
I don't remember that day as a relief.
Oh, really?
No. Like this whole story is still something that bothers me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What bothers you the most about it?
I understand why, but why?
Yeah.
I understand why.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In Adidas, my career progressed. I got into those big roles, so you understand how you need to protect the business. So I get it, but it could have been done differently.
Yeah. When you finally did end up at Adidas, what was that first day on the job like? What were your things you were trying to set out to do immediately?
I mean, first day was amazing. First day was amazing. Like I remember we walked through the campus in Herzog, and people just turning, like recognizing, like, oh, they're here. Right?
Wow.
Now, some probably were fearful, some were hopeful, but you could feel the energy. And then the creation of Brooklyn Farm, I think it's amazing. Like nobody in the industry did anything like that.
Yeah, so Brooklyn Farm, we always heard about it, and then I think like some stories about what was happening there, but for the audience that may not be familiar, what was the early days of the Brooklyn Farm? That's all you saw the picture of you three, and then immediately like you heard about the Brooklyn Farm, and I didn't really know what was going on in there, but what was it like? A huge design warehouse?
It was a warehouse feel. Every day you explore, experiment, create, make, with no rules, and this experimentation then gets curated into a creative direction. So you use tangible products or prototypes to say, hey, this is the North Star. So let's go toward that. Lots of connection with culture. I mean, if you guys came back then, the door was open.
Wow. Yeah.
We were street level. Like, if any competitor came and just looked inside, you would see everything.
The windows weren't tinted. You could just look in the window.
No, they got tinted a few years later, but not for that reason. More for the sun.
Shining too bright.
No, we didn't want it to play by the old rules, like everything secretive and bad feelings between brands. We just wanted to open the door. Especially to the Brooklyn kids, right?
Yeah.
So for me, that was fantastic. The miss was that it wasn't consumer facing. So some of these products didn't go directly to consumers. That was a miss. But still, I think it created a big wave of change inside of Adidas and in the industry, because some other brands had to think differently about it.
And that was such a special time at Adidas, 2016.
It was the restart. Everything was on fire.
I feel like at that point it was like, Kanye signs to the brand, the three of you get hired, and everyone's like, all of a sudden people are like, Adidas is going to take over the industry. Did you feel that energy? Like,
yes, absolutely. The Pharrell just did the really good things before we started with Stan Smith and the Superstar.
Yeah, that huge pack of Superstars.
The color wheel, like that was great. Then Kanye signs, then the Ultra Boost hits, the NMD hits. I mean, everything was working.
What were those days like when the Ultra Boost hitting? NMD hitting? What was it like in that design farm when you just saw it bubbling? What was the attitude and the atmosphere like?
Not just the farm, everyone in the brand started to feel good about being part of the brand, you know? Like, we were winning against a much bigger giant, right? So that was it was so positive, so positive. Like the challenge was everything was working so well that we did not started to think what's next.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
always like you hit
Lightning in a bottle, and then
absolutely. You
yeah.
need to think next.
Do you feel like at the time that maybe after, Ultra Boost and NMD came out and you said you weren't thinking about the future, do you feel like maybe the brand was like regurgitating ideas a little too much and it became stagnant, or?
When on one side when something's working, you want to milk it until you can, right?
Sure.
So that was done well. But for example, Ultra Boost, I think the Ultra Boost 2 came maybe 3 years after the first one. Like there was no update the second year or the third year,
It was just like the knit pattern was changed.
So
a little
you're
bit.
waiting for the heat to die, and then to start a new heat, it's not easy. Especially if the consumer starts identifying you as a brand who's losing heat.
Yeah. Then you're in trouble.
Yeah, you can have the coolest shoe in the world, but if the brand is not hot.
The stuff that y'all were doing at the farm, how much was that a part of the bigger strategy? Or were you able to just be left alone and create cool things and kind of be this center of innovation for the brand? Was the work you were doing there tied to real commercial results and things like that?
Well, it was tied, as I said, to creative direction.
Yeah.
So everything we were doing was then used for a seasonal creative direction.
Got it.
And then it would set the seasonal direction for all the BUs to follow in terms of form, material, color, prints, and stuff like that.
Because it was so, like you said, I think I agree with you that one of the misses was it not being sufficiently consumer facing, because we remember when it was about to happen and then it happened and you have these new talented designers who are at Adidas, but we didn't know from the outside what you guys were doing. Or, Mark Dolce's at Adidas now, Denis Dekovic's at Adidas now, Mark Miner's at Adidas, but we never really knew what was happening or what you guys were doing.
Yeah, no, but that's the same feeling we had on the inside.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, it's an amazing car, it's ready to go, but it's not taking off.
Yeah.
Was Kanye someone that you ever got to work with? I know you said you mentioned working with Pharrell on those. Was Kanye someone you sat down and...
I did not work with Kanye.
Yeah.
Mark Miner worked with Kanye a lot. He visited a few times. And some of the concepts that started at the farm ended up, being adopted as his projects. So.
What were some of those concepts?
Oh man, I'm not good with names. But I remember that, you remember that weird yellow shoe? It was like all yellow, like one piece and a little gray on top, like
The
one
minivan,
piece.
I think.
A knit runner maybe or something like that. I don't know.
Not the dumpling one with the claws on the bottom?
No, not that one.
Okay.
No. Anyway, I don't remember the names, but some of the technologies, some of the construction methods we were doing, Mark Miner then moved to LA, started working with Kanye, and luckily they adopted some of the ideas.
Yeah.
How'd you get your own 350 with your name on it?
That's the real secrets.
No, I mean I just knitted a patch at the farm
you made it yourself.
and put a patch on it.
Oh.
Yeah, but
The famous.
But 5 hours after, I was asked to take it down.
Oh, really?
By who?
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't
was
know
asked
that.
to take it down to avoid to upset Kanye. But I knowing him, I don't think he would get upset. He would be like, "Oh wow, that's cool."
Tinkering with the shoe.
yeah, absolutely.
That's what we're here to do.
When he came to the farm, were people kind of like nervous or kind of like walking on eggshells, or was it just like a free, open atmosphere?
It's always free. It's always free, no matter who comes. We had many important people come in.
Can we get one random important, like one super random, like
Somebody who we wouldn't expect to be in
that
there at
came
all.
through?
Robert De Niro comes in or something.
Naomi Campbell.
Okay,
I don't know if it's unexpected, but
that's cool.
so it was always open. But of course, you never know with Kanye because he's very creative and he sees things and reacts to what he's seeing a lot with emotion. So you never know how it's gonna go.
I remember we went there a couple times, and I just remember seeing like random things around. Like there was, I think it's over there, the Bape ZX 8,000.
Yeah.
And there was a pair, or 5,000. There was a pair sitting there, and the sole was taken off. And someone was like, "Oh, Clark brought these, and he wants someone to put an Ultra Boost sole on the Pape ZX."
Well, I didn't
and
know that.
they're like, "We haven't gotten
remember
around
that.
to it yet."
Yeah. I mean, he was getting busy, He loved. I mean, Clark. But for me, when I think of Clark and what he achieved in music and who he is in music, and now I have him sit in front of me 3-4 days a week because he wants to be part of this. Like, how amazing is that? So not only you discussing ideas or you discussing what's happening on the market, but he wants to make some prototypes, and he did many.
Ha. And you worked with Pharrell later in your career or more recent. Did you work on the human race footwear?
Yes, some. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was it like working with him? And he's had so many projects with Adidas, but like at that stage.
Amazing. I love him. I love him because he gives you the energy back. So everything you invest in, he gives it to you back and doubles it. Super respectful, super curious, wants to push things, whatever you do. I really, really love working with him.
Aside from all these big names, who are some of the younger designers that you guys were able to kind of train and bring up to the system there that you're really proud of?
You need to hire someone, or
No, I feel like there's so many names in footwear design that we never hear. And there's like a handful of superstar, no pun intended, designers. And there's so many more people who contribute to the creation of a shoe whose names we never get to know.
Yeah. Nick Dyber, amazing designer. He's with, is it Proto?
Okay.
The new brand?
Yeah,
Proto,
with the Jeff Staples involved in it.
Yes. So he's there now. Kelsey Fu designed, I think, the Harden 3, but then worked at Yeezy as well.
I forget what his name was. What was that? That guy? He had the Instagram embroidered.
Oh, the Italian.
Federico.
Yeah. Is he still at Adidas?
He's still at Adidas.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
They had found his like Instagram, and he was doing like Photoshops at the time.
Yes.
And I guess you guys like brought him in because you wanted to create real product.
Actually, when I was at Nike, he was sending me images, and I'm like, oh, this is really cool. But I knew the Instagram name. I didn't know who was behind.
Yeah.
So when I hired him, he said, "Oh, I was sending you images back in 2014." I'm like, "What images?" He's a machine.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah.
And the book, what could we expect in the book? Obviously, we talked, we only had like basically an hour, but so much history. What could people expect from the book?
Well, people won't get the book.
But I know that you're dribbling it out online.
I'm sharing some. I'm sharing some.
Why don't you release it? Why don't you want to release the book?
Because if you work with a publishing company, they're going to have a say on the cover, on how to lay down the content and everything. This was a book done for my parents while they are still here, so they can see the journey.
Yeah.
And for my kids who are 18 and 19 now, and they're starting their own journey, so they can see what it took. So that was the priority, and I didn't wanted anyone to have a say.
No input from anyone else.
No.
Yeah.
But the book is basically my story from childhood to until now. I try to explain how the dots are connected from being a son of athletes to loving Japanese cartoons and all of it. And then I cover the 3 chapters, which is the kind of like the first 10 years, the second 10 years with Nike, and then the last chapter with Adidas. So, and I really focus on people and experiences. I do not talk a lot about projects, although it's packed with great images of different projects we worked on.
I don't want you to sell the book too much now because you're saying how awesome it is, and then people won't be able to get it.
Yeah.
I guess last question I want to ask you, just because you touched on it right now, and I just want to get your perspective on it. So you mentioned not wanting people to edit it, right? To edit the book.
The book, yeah.
When you were working, I mean, obviously still working on footwear, but when you're working at the big brands, and I'm sure there were people who gave you feedback on the projects. Were you receptive to the feedback, or did you somehow, or like was it like the same with the editors, where like you didn't want to take it sometimes?
No. I mean, look, the book is a personal project.
Yeah.
When I do shoes, I do it with a brand for millions of people. So feedback is important, and I never work on a shoe alone. So there are always other people involved. It can be a team of 10, it can be a team of 50. And everyone's feedback is important. Like even somebody in the factory can tell you, look, what you're trying to do here, it's not going to work in production. There's going to be issues. You need to listen even to that, right? So yeah, absolutely. It's not being open to feedback. It's seeking feedback.
And then the last couple chapters of your career, I just want to kind of know where you're at right now and when you decided to leave Adidas. Like, what have the past couple of years looked like for you?
Well, so I left a year ago.
Any particular reason?
Similar to Nike, it was time to move on and make new experiences. It was not an easy decision because it was the ultimate position in design. So the decision was hard, but you know, you feel it inside. It's time to go and take those risks that are going to take you somewhere new. And then since then, you know, a lot of work on a book. It's been 2.5 years that I've been working on that and prepping for the next chapter, you know. So I'm staying busy and keeping my fingers crossed that the next chapter happens the way I envision it.
Would the next chapter be another big brand job? Is it having your own design firm? Is it?
Yeah, so no, the plan is not to have a big design job with a corporation. I want to use my experience and my network to help brands transform, help brands, you know, get closer to their goals.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm dreaming about doing my own brand. So we'll see how it goes.
I'll be buying a pair.
Oh, thank you.
One last question I always like to ask, just because you've been through so many stages of footwear design in the space now. Are there any models that stick out to you that you really love?
Well, so I'm about innovation. So I'm buying Jordan 1s and all of it. But for me, this is nostalgia. So I cannot tell you, yeah, I really like the Jordan 1 that they released a month ago. Like, for me, that's the past. I love it, but it's not moving us forward. I think the industry right now, it's a little stale. Brands are playing very safe for various reasons. And it's been a long time that I haven't seen a disruptive innovation that allows you to create also a new look. So I think we are all waiting to see
the next big.
Yeah, to see a giant show us what the future is going to look like. But unfortunately, no, nothing in the industry excites me. I mean, the new Harden is cool. It stands out on the court. But again, even that shoe, you can create it by using the old tricks. So I really want to see something new.
Interesting. Well, Denis, thank you so much for taking the time. So much history and great to hear these stories. And yeah, I can't thank you enough for stopping by.
Yeah, it's really a pleasure. I mean, I've been following you guys a long time, and I guess I made it, you know?
Yeah.
We appreciate your time, Denis. Thank you for sharing the story.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. All right, everyone. This has been the Complex Sneakers Podcast. We hope everyone has a great weekend. Please like, subscribe. We will see you next week.